A young woman is brutally attacked, raped, and murdered in her own home. The killer leaves the scene of the crime and disappears. For the next 25 years, he believes he got away with murder. January 13, 1995. Beaumont, Texas. 31-year-old teacher Mary Catherine Edwards is seen leaving the Price Elementary School where she teaches. At around 5 p.m., she arrives home, and neighbors see her one last time, walking her dog. Later that evening, Mary calls her boyfriend on the telephone, runs a bath, and pours herself a glass of wine. She is about to take a relaxing bath when there is a knock on her door. Her unexpected visitor is a childhood friend and casual acquaintance, and Mary lets him in. But things take a dark turn when Mary realizes his true intentions. The man attacks her, and a violent altercation takes place as Mary fights for her life. She is overpowered by her attacker, her hands bound, and she is dragged upstairs to the bedroom, where she is raped. After the sexual assault, the man drags her into the bathroom and drowns her in the bathtub. He leaves her house and vanishes. The next day, January 14th. After being unable to reach their daughter on the phone, Mary's concerned parents decide to go to her house. When her father climbs the stairs, he finds his daughter's lifeless body. The autopsy reveals several wounds Mary sustained during her attempt to fight off her attacker. It also reveals that she was sexually assaulted, and her cause of death is recorded as drowning. The coroner is able to retrieve DNA that the killer left on Mary's body, but in 1995, DNA testing is not yet advanced, and the DNA evidence is a dead end. Luckily, however, the sample is stored. The investigation then focuses on Mary and the people in her life. Detectives learn that Mary has a close-knit group of friends and was very close to her family. Her life revolved around her dedication to teaching, church, and going to the gym. Investigators rule out anyone close to her as the perpetrator, and with no new leads, the case goes cold. Weeks turn to months and eventually years, with no justice for Mary Catherine Edwards, while her killer lives his life as a free man. In the year 2000, there is an attempt to reignite the case, and the genetic profile of the attacker is introduced into the DNA databases, including the FBI's Combined DNA Index System, or CODIS. But there is no match, and again, the case goes cold. Finally, in 2020, the case is reopened by the Texas Rangers Cold Case Squad. The DNA sample from the killer is sent to a private forensics laboratory, and the suspect's profile is entered into a public genealogy database. While the search does not provide a direct match to the killer, it does link the killer to some of his distant relatives. Using the ancestral link, 30 distant relatives of the suspect voluntarily submit DNA samples for testing. The process allows investigators to hone in on the killer by following a genetic family tree. The DNA roadmap points to the killer being one of two brothers. And when investigators take a closer look, they realize one brother stands out. That man is Clayton Bernard Foreman. Investigators discover that Clayton pleaded guilty to abusing a woman in 1981, but did not serve any jail time for the attack. Clayton also knew Mary. They attended the same school, and Mary was a bridesmaid at Clayton's wedding in 1982. Police track Clayton to his new home in Ohio, where they place him under surveillance. They watch and wait for Clayton to take out his trash. Investigators then sift through the trash until they find something that might contain his DNA. After testing, DNA found in Clayton's trash matches the DNA the killer left on Mary's body 25 years earlier. On April 29, 2021, Clayton Foreman was arrested and charged with the first-degree murder of Mary Catherine Edwards. The evidence presented at trial was overwhelming. And in March 2024, almost 30 years after the murder, Clayton Bernard Foreman was convicted of murder. He was sentenced to life in prison and will only be eligible for parole when he is 93 years old. Thanks to the advances in DNA testing and the relentless pursuit of the suspect by the Texas Rangers, there was finally justice for Mary Catherine Edwards.